Hey there, dog lovers. Welcome back to our channel. Today we've got quite an interesting situation lined up for you. We're dealing with a common behavioral issue that many dog owners face. We have a dominant and overstimulated Pitbull right here, Doughboy, who does not play nice with other pups. He's a jerk, for lack of better words. As you can see, our Pitbull friend here is quite the handful. He's showing signs of dominance and lacks impulse control, making it difficult for him to interact with other dogs without causing trouble. I have my helper dogs with me. Gojo the Husky is in training. He is still a puppy, and our veteran Catahoula, Nezzi, is ready to assist us in teaching some manners to our unruly friend. Dogs are much better at speaking their own language than I am. Doughboy doesn't have a bite history, and neither do my helper dogs. But Doughboy needs to learn that the world pushes back, and he doesn't just get to do what he wants. So he has no manners, he lacks impulse control, he has no boundaries with other dogs, he is consistently overstimulated, and he has never been truly told no before. His behavior is self-reinforcing, and unless we can find a motivator that is more motivating than this behavior, Doughboy will never change the way he behaves. So as you can see, he's just constantly pushback. He doesn't care. He doesn't care about anything. He only cares about wanting to be dominant. He wants to be in charge. He wants to control the situation. He wants to be a bully, is pretty much it. Like, he's well overstimulated at all times, and he needs to learn that eventually there's going to be somebody or another dog that is going to push back and push back hard. So you can see him mount Gojo, and Gojo said no. And Gojo's just staring him down, just saying this is enough. There's a little bit of appeasement, and then bam, snaps. Doughboy is just way too much. So Nezzi over here sees a friend, and she goes up. Doughboy decides to be a bully, and Nezzi's just not having any of it. Like, look at this. This is correction work, and it's done well. But unfortunately, Doughboy just blows it off. He does not care. So it does look like Nezzi's resource guarding, but as you can see, she left that area. She's not. She was just happened to be in that spot. So I decided to remove Gojo from the session since he was starting to get closer to threshold from Doughboy's consistent pushiness, and I don't want my dog to end up in a fight due to this. So Nezzi has an extremely high threshold, which makes her an ideal candidate for this session. But eventually, as you can see, I decided to take the lead to add some heavier corrections. He needs a reality check, and at this point, he's not getting it from my dogs correcting him. It doesn't always work with helper dogs, and this is one of the cases. So this behavior is most likely due to the lack of punishment and boundaries being set by the handler. This is why treating dogs like dogs is extremely important. Positive reinforcement is amazing to mold and shape new behaviors, but dogs will never know what is unacceptable behavior until they are taught what is unacceptable. So it's essential to be patient during this process. Changing behavior takes time and consistency, but with the right approach, even the most stubborn dogs can learn to be more respectful and well behaved. So anytime Doughboy goes in any direction that I don't want him to, I correct it. I control his movements. He doesn't get to do what he wants to do anymore. He is so used to this behavior, and in order to extinct a behavior, it has to stop working. So during this entire session, not just correcting, but the owner is out here, and I am teaching the owner everything that needs to be taught. So I'm not playing around with Doughboy anymore. It's ridiculous. At this point, I think this is 35 minutes into the session, and he is still overstimulated. He is still trying to be a jerk, and I allow my dog to just free roam. She is behaving. She is saying hi to everybody. She's being nice. As you can see, she's just happy, but she just is tired of it too. So as you can see, the The collar comes off. I already know that it's fine. It's not a big deal. None of the dogs have bite histories. So I speak to the owner about the collar not being appropriate, and we continue the session. So I'm using spatial pressure to prevent Doughboy, but as you can see, he doesn't care. He's choking himself. Anything I do is not going to speak to this dog. This dog cares way too much about Nezzi, and I'm not allowing it. You're going to see me put him in a sit soon enough, and when he gets up, I'm going to put him in a sit again, and when he gets up, I'm going to do it again. Each time, I'm going to be a little more forceful. I have to match his energy in order to make him realize that this is not a game anymore. He does not win. He doesn't get to do what he wants to do. So here we are again, Nezzi roaming around, just being a good girl, and Doughboy just lunges because he wants to bully, he wants to push. That lunge wasn't violent, that lunge was dominant. He wants to go mount, he wants to push, he wants to tackle, he wants to just be a jerk. So again, I'm talking, and if you can see, Doughboy is starting to look back, he's starting to pay attention a little bit more, so we're starting to see very small amounts of progress. So I gave him a little bit of lead there. And yep, I put him into a sit. There we go, put him in another sit. He's not listening. You're gonna sit down, bud. He's not gonna take a treat. He doesn't care about treats, so we can't shape behaviors with treats. Right now, the motivator for him, he's high drive on what he wants to do, and the motivator that's going to work best for him is going to be punishment. Positive punishment is going to work best for him. So I wanted to give him some lead to see what he does. Right when he starts acting like a jerk, Nezzi corrects, and eventually I remove him from the situation again. So there you go, he's just sniffing, he's being fine. And yep, see, Nezzi's losing. Nezzi lost that right there. Right when she walked away, moved her eye contact, walked away, and didn't stand her ground, she lost. He won. He knows he won. So here we go. I'm going to be putting him back in a sit. He's going to stand up again. Sit down. He's going to stand up again. Nope. Sit down. He doesn't get to do what he wants to do. I mean, that's the bottom line to this that people don't realize. Your dog doesn't get to do what they want to do at all times. When they do, this is what happens. Well, the dog is not violent. The owner wants to be able to go to dog parks or go to social events or anything with other dogs, but she can't because of this. She's gone to a dog park once, and I could only imagine being one of the owners of another dog at a dog park and dealing with a dog like this. This is why I don't go to dog parks, because I see dogs like this all the time. There's no self-control. So we're about 45 minutes into this session now at this point, and I've had enough. Doughboy's getting a prong collar, and so at this point I use a Springer prong. It can be other prongs, it doesn't have to be Springers. What I had on hand that would fit him, and we're going to use it. We're going to correct Doughboy with it, and as you can see, he's not pulling as much, but he doesn't get to do what he wants to do. I'm explaining to the owner exactly how we do the corrections, how the Springer is supposed to be fit. We're talking through everything, and so that way she can be set up for success too. She eventually gets to be very hands-on as well, and now Nezzi's starting to be more vocal. Nezzi's starting to say, look, this is enough, dude. We've had enough. I'm tired of you too. I just want to come over here and hang out. I want to be with my owner and hang out, but I can't even do that because look at you. You're ridiculous. So this is me explaining the how the leash pop works with this. You don't want to just let them choke themselves with a prong collar. If they get to the end of it, they're putting tension on it, it usually corrects themselves, but you sometimes have to do correction, and the leash pop is fine. Like, look, he doesn't like it, and that's great. I don't want him to like it. I want him to start associating his behavior with aversive feelings, you know, like it's not okay, and we need to change this mindset of his to make him calm down. Because eventually what's going to happen is there's going to be the wrong dog, the not Nezzi. That's not going to correct him, but it's going to rip into him, and it's going to be a very bad time for everybody involved. You know, if we want to talk about dogs with trauma, if Doughboy survived it, he's going to definitely have trauma and possibly become extremely reactive and aggressive towards other dogs rather than just being a jerk. He's already dominant. He's unaltered, and we did talk about having him neutered because that could possibly, it's not always going to work, but it can possibly help out with this behavior. There we go. So I showed her how to apply pressure to get him to sit, but look at him. He's even trying to mount me, and that's not okay. That is not okay. See, right here, he doesn't care. He only cares about the dog. No treats. And that's a high level. That's a freeze-dry rabbit treat. So yeah, for the remainder of this video, you're going to see a lot of correction work. There we go. Put them back and sit. See, it's just repeat, rinse and repeat, rinse and repeat. So what a lot of people don't show on these videos is the ugly side of dog training. This is really what it is. This is reality. So when you're trying everything, trying and trying and trying, and you have a stubborn dog, this is what it's going to look like. You know, it's not going to be pretty, and that's okay. This is what the dog needs. So again, we're trying to move away from threshold a bit, just get a distance from us. So we're trying to see, where does he need to go? We're going to walk him around, move him around. Where does he need to be to not act like that, and see how close we can get. And it's just going to be a lot of back and forth, moving closer to my dog, moving away from my dog, correcting, moving closer, rinse and repeat. That's all dog training really is. It's a lot of rinse and repeat. And to sum it up, it's as simple as the dog has a motivation, and you have to find the motivator that trumps the motivation. It is that simple. Sometimes treats is great, and it works perfectly fine for a highly food motivated dog. Sometimes it doesn't. Sometimes toys work. Sometimes praise works. Sometimes you're going to need some punishment. If it's not a correction with a leash, maybe it's a prong collar. Maybe it's an e-collar. Maybe there's so many different things. A squirt bottle. There are plenty of different ways you can correct a dog and use proper punishment, but it has to motivate the dog to start listening. So here we are, we're working on some back and forths. He's starting to pay less attention, which is great. You can see him sniffing. I do this on pulling dogs anyway with dog walks and leash control. And leash etiquette on dog walks is a lot of back and forths. See, he's starting to pay attention to me. He's looking up at me, and bam, now he's trying to be dominant again, right? So that behavior right there can stem from a couple things. It could be that he is overstimulating and he's a stress relieving behavior, but based on his behavior that he's presented this entire time, this is definitely a dominant behavior. My goal is not to dominate him back. It's not. He just needs to not do it. I'll correct the behavior, but I am not trying to alpha roll or dominate him back. I don't believe in alpha rolling. I don't believe in dominating a dog. I believe in the proper punishments, and I believe dogs can be dominant just like dogs can be submissive. It's just a personality trait, and this dog is a more dominant personality dog. So now you can see the owner has been taking everything in. She's been taking a lot of mental notes, asking a lot of very good questions during this process, and now I want her to be more hands-on because she is getting herself, and she has already at this point gotten herself a prong collar. She made sure that it was the right one. I went over and I fitted it for her, but I want her to start learning how to utilize the prong properly and be able to control her dog. And so that's what we're going to be working on here, is a lot of back and forths, a lot of her doing the proper corrections, proper leash handling, and just moving past the other dog. Because even if her dog doesn't have friends ever, and it's okay to not have friends, not every dog needs to have friends, right? But at least go on a walk without this kind of behavior, you know? Whereas this is unnecessary behavior. It's uncalled for. So here we go again. You see, he's still looking, but yeah, he doesn't like it. It's aversive. So I tell her real quick to not let him chew on that, because dogs will chew right out of a leash very quickly if they get the right bite. And I also instructed her to keep moving. If he wants to stop, keep moving. He doesn't get to stop until you tell him to. Right now it's going to be full control. He has a tight leash, pun intended, and it's we're over it. Everybody is over it. The owner's over it. The owner wants to have a dog that can listen to the boundaries, that can understand what is acceptable behavior. So yeah, he was doing fine in the sit. She's putting him back in sit. That's great. Anytime he breaks command, put him back in sit. That's not okay. Do not break command. So one thing here that I can see is that she was keeping tension on the prong collar the whole time. It needs to be loose. So I'm showing her right now how to allow it to be loose, how to make the correction, because we want it loose. Just like that. He can stand there, he can look, and that's fine. Have the right expectations, but he's not allowed to pull. And when he continues and he continues and he continues, I'm going to give him a heavier correction. Little correction. Good, we can start walking. You don't get to be ahead. You got to wait. And he's not listening, so we're going to move away again. It's just, again, back and forth. Repeat, repeat, repeat. So yeah, he's trying to bite the leash. He's not liking this at all, and that's perfectly fine. He is still overexcited. He's overstimulated, but with the use of the prong collar and proper handling, he in one session has made some progress, and some progress means that he is able and capable of learning, and that's also going to give confidence to the owner to be able to handle the situation. I hope you enjoyed, and we'll see you next time.